With it being 6:30 on Tuesday, June 11, 2019, I will call this meeting of the Webster School Committee to order and ask that we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Just a reminder that this meeting is being recorded both audio and video. And first item on the agenda, I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session according to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, to discuss contract negotiations with instructional assistants in ABA's contract 2019-2022 to reconvene in open session.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Laurie, would you poll the committee, please?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Again, we will enter into executive session, returning to open session. Returning to open session, we will continue with this evening's agenda. The next item on the agenda is I will entertain a motion to approve our meeting minutes from May 14th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Laurie, would you pull the committee, please?
Yes.
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 Yes, next item on the agenda is the approval of our March 12, 2019 executive session minutes. Since the matter that was discussed in executive session has been resolved, I would recommend that we approve and release the meeting minutes from the March 12, 2019 executive session.
So moved.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Laurie, would you pull the committee, please?
Yes.
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 Yes, next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Good evening, Dr. Gogan.
Good evening. How is everyone tonight?
We're good, thank you.
I'd first like to start by congratulating the class of 2019 and giving a shout out to all of our teachers across the district for their support over the years to lift up and rise another Bartlett class and send them off into the bright world. I know that we're going to hear many great things about the class that just left, and I'm pleased at the way graduation went and happy for everyone. Speaking of graduation, I'd also like to just say that we had a successful lock-in for our graduates, and I'd like to publicly thank Gina Neves and Donna Hurton for really taking the lead on organizing that. There were a number of staff members and possibly even a school committee member there helping out. I'd like to thank Dawn McCarthy, Peter Cushing, Chris Houston, Kyra Wilder, Ben Jenis, Becky Zernicki, Alex Grande, Raphael Masterson, Melissa Arsenault, Angela Duffy, Chris Shen, and Marianne Honig for coming for some of the night and all of the night. I did get to see some of the pictures from the event. It looked like the kids had a great time, and we will be giving you more detail on some of the donations, but I would be remiss if I did not mention that the night was supported by the grant from the District Attorney's Office, but also supported by members of our community. Thank you goes out to Mexicali, Bogies, Point Breeze, our cafeteria here, Julie Mendilio, who made the cupcakes, Polar Beverage, Amazon, Oriental Trading, the Dollar Store, Ben Jenny's, Queen Nails, Webster's Choice Barbershop, the Worcester Bravehearts, Star Nails, Divine Nails, Book Lovers Gourmet, the Boston Red Sox, Apollo Pizza, Lake Pizza, Chris Robert, an Indian Ranch, Showcase Cinemas. TV was donated by Peter Cushing, Adventure Park at Stores, Sky Zone, Ectotarium, Pete's Tire, and The Duck. Each of these people or organizations donated either gift cards or prizes, and so throughout the night, children were able to leave with a prize. And I heard some wonderful stories about that. So, and also thank you, Chairman Hertman, if you were also there helping out. I have a pretty short report tonight. I'd like to just let you know that we received the NEASC findings report. We were notified that Bartlett High School is being removed from the warning for standard for accreditation on community resource for learning. I have attached the memo from NEASC, so that is very good news. I'd also like to let you give you an update on the Central Mass Collaborative. As you know, we've been working with the Department of Education to update a new agreement for the Central Mass Collaborative. You had an official vote to withdraw at the end of June. Because we have made the conscious decision to potentially stay in this collaborative and wait for the Department of Education to approve that agreement, the other collaborative, Worcester, has not taken the steps to bring to their committee to have Webster withdraw. So we are sort of in a holding pattern, as you've been informed, and we are waiting for the Department of Education to approve the collaborative agreement that we have sent. There is a memo attached for your packet for you to see. I'm pleased to let you know that we have concluded the negotiations with the next executive director, Susan Farrell. She will be starting July 1st for the collaborative, and I am excited to have her on board as the new executive leader. In terms of personnel updates for our district, I'd like to let you know that Janet Asari Okai has resigned from the paraprofessional position at Park Ave. We have received and accepted Dr. Peter Cushing's resignation from Bartlett High School. We have hired Gina Nieves for the Dean of Students position at Bartlett High School. We have also hired Stacy Canfield as the school adjustment counselor over at the Webster Middle School. Stacy was a consultant for us through the collaborative for many years, and now she's coming aboard as full-time. We're very pleased about that. We've also hired Angela Duffy as a special education teacher for Bartlett High School, and we have posted an interim Bartlett High School principal position. We've made a couple transfers for next year. Mrs. Parmley has asked staff to let her know if they were willing and able to make some changes, and these are the changes that have been made. Jennifer Kelly is moving from grade 1 to grade 2. Jill Recchia is moving from grade 3 to grade 1. Leslie Kwasniewski is moving from grade 4 to grade 3. Lorraine Grammatikakis is moving from grade 2 to grade 4. Other updates. I did speak a little bit about the graduation, and I definitely want to speak a lot about the graduates parade. It is one of the best days here in our district. Our students, as you know, go through all of the schools, and the children have signs and are cheering them on. And it was at Park Avenue School where people were crying. The graduates are leaning outside of the bus and literally saying to our children, "Stay in school." It was really wonderful. So next year, if there's any possibility for you to see and witness this, I would highly recommend that you take a personal day or just the morning off, because it's over by 11 o'clock, and it's just a really wonderful tradition that we have here. I want to let you know that Kathy Barris and myself attended the SWEC graduation, and this year we had 3 students graduating from SWEC. Congratulations to Grace and James and Devian. I'd also like to let you know that we received a wonderful thank you note from North Village, and I want to give a shout out to Mrs. Daniels and the teachers who have been working in the Above and Beyond program. We piloted that this year, and it has been so successful. We will be doing a summer program there as well. Our partnership with them will continue to expand. Recently, Mrs. Daniels and myself and Mr. Robert have met with the ladies over at North Village, and we are trying to get a reading room up and started. Mr. Robert has donated, will donate what they need to have that reading room in place. And so between our help, the school's help with what kind of books they might need and what kind of computers, we're partnering with them to make that a reality. I also like to let you know that although I was not there, the community fair that we have been working and planning on with many, many members of our community was a huge success. And maybe you want to say a few words about that.
Well, I just think it was great for first year. We had a lot of vendors turn out, walking around, communicating with them. They were thrilled to have the event and see the people turn out to give some knowledge. The first aid table was busy. Our community partners with EMS and fire and police were there. I just think it was a great event for our first year. Next year we'll go back at it again and look to, we communicated it out pretty well. I think the weather might have hurt us a little bit. It was such a rainy spring, and then that happened to be the first beautiful Saturday we had in a while. So, hopefully we'll get a little more participation down the road, but I think for a one-time event, it was great, and we appreciate all the vendors who came and supported us, Boston Children's, Commerce, the hospital was there. She did tell me she saw about 50 people come through her table, that she was giving advice on CPR and first aid, and she said, if I can make an impact on one of them, it was worth it. It was worth showing up. So, and the local radio station, Lake 940, they were awesome, playing music and giving some props out in the community. So I just thank everybody for showing up, and I think it was a good first event.
We had a safety meeting where we all debriefed about the community fair, and so we're in the brainstorming session of whether to continue the fair alone or do it with something else in town to make sure that there's ample people. We did toss around possibly doing it in conjunction with the Park Avenue Carnival. So we have some other ideas. There was feedback from everyone. The overall consensus was everyone was very proud that we had accomplished this, and we are grateful for everyone who participated. I'd also like to let you know that Bartlett High School has been selected to participate in the NAEP testing for 12th graders next year. There will be more details forthcoming on what subject matter that will be. We had a very successful PD full day on May 28th. Polly Barth provided professional development to our middle school and high school teachers and some of our PAE staff. She presented on managing and changing difficult classroom behaviors that interrupt instruction. Everyone was riveted by what she had to share. We are talking about having her come back to work with our Park Avenue staff and follow up with our teachers. There was a wonderful professional development flyer produced from our curriculum office. Thank you to Ms. Daniels and Ms. Chapdelaine, which is also in your packets for you to see. There's been an enormous amount of effort put forward this year to support our teachers with the new resources that they are using. We're at the end of the year, and I wanted to give you an end of the year enrollment update. We have 835 students at Park Avenue Elementary School. We have 581 students at the Webster Middle School, and we have 448 students at the high school. I would like to just give you one other update, and that is, as you know, I'm working with Mr. Robert on a number of different initiatives, projects that we can put into action to help our students in the community. One of them is the reading room at the North Village. Another one is talking to him and the Immokalee Foundation down in Florida to sort of mirror a college feeder system. And I have had initial contact with the Immokalee Foundation, and they do remarkable things. Certainly they have a $3 million budget and have been doing this for a long time, but their program is developed to help children start to begin to think about careers and where they're going to go in grade 6. And it's a very structured program. So I will be talking with the schools that work with them, and we're going to try to mirror something like that. I'm also pleased to tell you that we've been talking with Mr. Robert's daughter over at Indian Ranch, and I had the pleasure of going to Indian Ranch for the very first time yesterday. I've not seen the water except once in 2 years, and see the place with Mr. Chihuahua and Mr. Carney. We are working with them to give our students the opportunity to be on stage. So I'm pleased that both Mr. Carney and Mr. Chihuahua are excited about maybe some summertime opportunities. We are hoping that we will have some students be singing the national anthem on June 23rd. And I'll tell you who's playing on June 23rd. That is Jamie Johnson. And we're hoping that our Mr. Chihuahua is thinking about starting like a little summer camp and having the jazz band work on a performance and then perform on July 14th before the Mavericks with a jazz ensemble. So we're pleased to be partnering with them. We, just in our walkthrough of Indian Ranch, we all started brainstorming new ideas and new ways for us to partner. And once again, in Webster, kindness matters. People are really willing and able and wanting to see our children succeed. And those kind of opportunities are very unique, and so we're hoping that that happens. And very shortly after my visit to Indian Ranch, I received a phone call from Mrs. Fells, and Mrs. Fells was looking to see how she might be able to help the schools and offered to help with lunch payments, and I explained to her that we have a free lunch program. But I said that I would let her know if there was any other thing that I could think of that she could help with. And I thought for maybe 15 minutes and had a couple conversations and gave her a call back. And without hesitation, she is willing to help support the purchase of new band uniforms for our students. So that actually takes a little while to order and size up. So we will be continuing working with the donation of Mrs. Fells, and you'll be informed when that comes in. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the committee? I know I'm preaching to the choir when I state that we have great kids in our school district. So at the lock-in event that you spoke of, as you indicated, I think almost everybody got some type of prize from all the generous donations, and the big prize was a TV. And the young woman who received the TV was commuting to school. The intent was, if you're going off to college, you need a nice big flat screen TV. So she was commuting to school, and she already has a TV in her room. So she said to the staff, "Oh, I don't need this. Why don't you pick out another name?"
That's wonderful.
And the young man who ended up winning the TV was very, very appreciative, as he probably has never had his own TV in his home. So it was a very, I wasn't there that late. I did stay later than I thought I was going to, but I didn't make it quite till 6 a.m. But just hearing that the next day was very special. So again, to reiterate, thank you to all those incredible businesses and folks that donated to that event. Continuing on with the superintendent's report, the next item is business manager report. Good evening, Mrs. Perangeli.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Just a couple updates tonight. On June 3rd, I had the honor of going into Boston in front of the Joint Committee on Education and testifying for Breakfast After the Bell. I was asked by the Rise and Shine Coalition and Project Bread, who are fighting to have districts who are more than 60% have mandatory breakfast after the bell in their schools. And since Webster has participated in 2 of our schools with breakfast in the classroom, and we'll be doing our 3rd school, they thought it would be helpful to have a business manager on the panel. So I went in, and it was an interesting experience, to say the least. Basically, you hurry up and wait. You hurry up and sit, and you wait till your bill gets called, and then you have 3 minutes, and you watch your little board, and you can talk about your program for 3 minutes until the next speaker is up. But it was a rewarding experience, and I enjoyed it, and I was thrilled that they reached out to me and asked me to participate in that day. And I look forward to see where it's going to go down the road, because I think it's a great program. And I know they seemed really interested in pushing it throughout Boston, because there's so many schools in Boston who are real high poverty levels who don't have it. So, you know, they know there's a real push for it. And so I think it's something to look out for down the road. So I thank them for asking me to participate, and it was a great day for me. And the second thing on the agenda, I put time and attendance conversion. So we have been using ASOP and Veritime for our punching in and out system and our accrual system in the district for the past maybe 4 years. And in that time, the cost has more than doubled. They found a niche for education. They started out with ASOP, which is a sub-calling system, so that it automatically calls when a teacher puts in an absent and automatically looks for a substitute. So that caught on to all the districts pretty much in Massachusetts. A lot of people signed on and started using it, and they integrated it with a punching system, and they have just grown, and they've dominated the market, and their pricing has exploded. So when I got the bill this year, I almost fell on the floor, and after that I said, there's got to be something else out there. You know, we can't afford to be spending, when we went on board, I think we were spending about $7,000 for the 2, and it's up to $18,000, $19,000 now for the system. So I did what anybody would do. I reached out to my local partners in crime, my business managers out there. What are you using? What can we do? Reached out to some vendors. And I'm happy to say I got in touch with a company called ReadySub, which integrates with Kronos. Even in year one, we're saving $8,000. That's fully implementing in year one. And then after that, we'll be saving over $10,000 a year. So I am working on that conversion with the business office. We've been doing it for a few weeks now, and we'll be doing it, and we're looking to go live probably in August. There might be a little lapse in time where we have to go back to the old-fashioned time card, but there's not too much activity other than the summer program. So we'll be up and running for the start of school, and we'll make sure that everything's operating correctly, and that's important when you're dealing with payroll. And we're also looking at modernizing the system, hopefully importing, so there'll be less manual labor involved. Right now, there's still a lot of manual entry, so we're hoping that we can work and have direct imports into our payroll to make things more efficient for our timekeeping system. And that pretty much concludes my report, unless there are any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments for Mrs. Perangeli? I guess on behalf of the taxpayers, thanks again for watching out for the dollars that are being spent. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda under Superintendent's Report is the Principal Report, Michael Zajac, Webster Middle School. Good evening, Mr. Zajac.
Good evening, good evening. It's incredible to think that we're, in just 3 days, we're done. The trip that I came forward to in October for Washington DC was an aggressive trip. I had not done this with so quickly in the school district, but I felt this group deserved it. And I had a lot of help. Stacy Tucker, my secretary, was outstanding in organization. And we left with 99 people. We came back with 99, which is always good. And they were all hours, so that's a good thing. It was a phenomenal trip. We left at 6 o'clock in the morning, got into Arlington at 3:10, and it was packed. We were busy we walked over 8 to 9 miles on the second day. In the middle of a torrential downpour, when I'm at one museum and it says, all people have to go stay in the museums for an hour, and I'm at the American Museum of History, and I have to get over the Air and Space. Well, there was no way I was not going to get over there because I'm in charge of 100 people. So we made it to the trip. We're a little wet. It was a torrential downpour, but it was a phenomenal trip. The kids were outstanding. I had done this trip like 12 times, and they were perfect. They really were. I could not stop complimenting them on their behavior, and it's incredible to see them when you see them in the building from 7:30 to 2:30, and then you see them out when they're socializing. It was wonderful. It was a lot of chaperones were aggressive. They got into the Holocaust Museum, which they usually can't get into, but for some reason, Mr. Kelly got 13 people, and I have no idea how. They were sold out 6 months ago. But we had a lot of fun. We really did. And Philadelphia was wonderful. And to be honest with you, by the time we got to Philadelphia, they kept texting me. The kids were like, "We're ready to go home. We're tired." So I called the buses a half an hour early, and we got in. We got in a little early, which is unusual. But hopefully I'll be able to come forward to you in October and in September and plan another trip. I think the students really worked towards it. And I do have to say this to commend to my faculty. I've done this trip 12 times. This was the first time that faculty members came forward to offer financial assistance. And that really speaks volumes for the faculty there. They came, I've never had that happen, never. And for them to come forward and to offer assistance was remarkable. And on top of all the people coming forward in the community themselves coming forward and saying, "What can I do to help?" That was remarkable. Well, step-up events are going on. Tomorrow, I get a chance to go over to Park Avenue to meet the 4th graders. Our 8th graders are going over to Bartlett tomorrow at 12:30. And then Park Avenue 4th graders will be back to us on Thursday for a presentation on music, get to meet some of the faculty. And we also have a student panel. We have a number of students who will be answering their questions. So it's not adults answering questions, it's students. It's also a good way of showing that you do survive and there's no visible injuries, so it's always fun. And so we'll be doing that on Thursday. And our music program is phenomenal. We, for the second year, we've held the Great East Festival, Music Festival. And this year we held it on the 24th, and our chorus and band performed and got platinum, which is outstanding. And then because we're centrally located, the following Friday, we held it for other schools. So others, well, I was in Washington DC, so I was willing to agree to that. So other schools came to our building, and Barry Baggett does a phenomenal job with the program. And so they were able to come in and to use our facilities, and kids were able to watch other middle school kids perform. So that was a wonderful event. Empty Bowls fundraiser was a program where student artwork was on display, and that was done on the 4th of June. And parents and community members were able to come in and buy a piece of artwork and have ice cream that was donated, and all the proceeds that were donated, all the money that was collected was given to the food bank. So I think that was a wonderful way to display the artwork the kids have been doing in the bowls. And so that was a wonderful event also. There's so much to talk about. We got Field Day tomorrow, which is an annual tradition. That's going off tomorrow. So and we got rehearsal on Thursday for graduation, because our 8th graders will be doing step-up graduation on Friday at 9:45. So we are going to take them through the routine of how to walk and how to accept the diploma and shake hands. I think it's an important thing for them to go through. So we'll be doing that on Thursday morning, actually Thursday morning during lunch. So, any questions?
Any questions or comments from the committee? Hearing none, again, thank you and your staff for all the effort that you've put in this entire school year.
Yeah, it's been enjoyable. It's a great student body. It's a great faculty. I enjoy it. Thank you.
Thanks. Continuing on with the agenda, next item on the agenda is old business. The first item under old business is the monthly fundraising report. Again, per school committee policy, we just review the fundraising applications that were approved by the building principal and superintendent. We have nothing to do with approving these. The student council will be holding a car wash on Saturday, September 7th. The Music Boosters had a mattress fundraiser on June 1st. And do you happen to have the last one pulled up? Because I can't read it.
I can't.
Thank
Okay.
you. Bartlett Cheerleaders Golf Tournament as well. And again, all of these fundraisers are posted on the school district website. Any comments or questions from the members? Hearing none, the next item under old business is the approval of the Webster Middle School Improvement Plan. Dr. Kogan.
Thank you. Mr. Zajac and his school council and his ILT and his staff and the central office staff and myself have been working since this was last brought to you to put some benchmarks and align the school improvement plan with turnaround action plans. Before Mr. Zajac reports out on it, I will state that this improvement plan does state many years, but they're living documents. So as Mr. Zajac meets with his school council and his staff and are accomplishing goals, they may set new goals and they may show up. So you may see a new school improvement plan come through as well.
Thank you, Mrs. Coogan. It is a living document. This is, as you can see, it's 2018 to 2021. So we'll evaluate this in September with this new school council, because some of these things have already been accomplished. So with that being said, we will continue to evaluate it. I think the input you had was valuable because it did allow for measurable benchmarks and things that we can say have accomplished. As you know, as professionals and as dealing with improvement plans, we have a vision. Well, we got to make sure that vision is transparent and that people understand the vision, and that's part of the benchmark. So we were able to go through this with the ILT, the support of central office and working through this and helping to make sure they all mesh together, because this really has to tie into the district plan and our school's turnaround plan. So we were able to put in those benchmarks. Would you want me to go through each area, or do you want to, just asking?
What is the preference of the members. If you want to just kind of summarize the major, you don't have to go line by line, but just the thought process in each major category.
Well, there's four strategic objectives. There's one on, of course, student achievement, okay? And then the second thing is attendance, okay? We cannot educate a child if they're not present in school. So how do we do that? And what things are in place to support the families? And then we want to look at the curriculum, which isn't critical. Our curriculum, you have to make sure the curriculum's aligned, it's cohesive, it flows, and make sure that all staff are following it. And positive school culture, climate. You know, how do you, a student needs to feel as though they're safe, they're respected, and they're cared for. And that's a culture that we promote every day. And that's what we're responsible for. And so what things can we do to recognize our students? And I think that's one thing that DC did. It was recognizing the students for all their good choices. And I think that we had an ice cream party for honor roll and perfect attendance. Mrs. Gogan was there scooping ice cream. We have field day, which is recognizing students for their good choices. I think that's so important. I think we have to recognize, and I think sometimes you got to step back to really realize how fortunate we are. You know, and the kids, we have a great majority of wonderful, wonderful kids and families here. And so those are the four key overarching strategic goals. And as you go through them, they're broken down into initiatives. And each initiative then has its own action plan. And so they're all focused upon each objective that's outlined.
Are there any questions or comments from the members? First of all, to follow up on what Dr. Gogan said, thank you to your team and the central office team for all the effort that went into this. And this isn't just your plan, this is a trend that I've seen for numerous plans in the district. You know, a lot of the issues that are raised in these plans obviously identify the critical issues that we have in the building. And a lot of the action items I've seen for many years, and they may need to happen every year. I'm not saying that's not necessarily true, but how do you think moving forward you can help ensure that, let's take the issue of attendance. I know we've struggled as a district and it varies sometimes from grade level to grade level and building to building. How do you think this plan and/or the plan in your mind for the actual implementation will assist in making sure that most, if not all of these action items are actually implemented?
A plan is only as good as its implementation. You can put great words on paper. It's how you implement it, reinforce it, and how you follow through. It has to be culture. It has to be an expectation that students and families and staff all understand and know that there's a level of accountability. That we're here to help you, but we cannot educate you. So it's really the follow through. It's that consistent follow through in the message we give to families, that it is important for them to be in school. That's looking at data. That's looking at a correlation between a student's attendance rate and their passing rate. It's looking at those hard facts. I've had a number of challenging meetings in the past 2 days of unfortunate situations, and I've had to come out and say some hard details that, you know, the expectation is there, you know, and we expect you to meet the standard. And I think that that's continuity, that's consistency of message, that's following through with it and knowing what to expect when you walk in the door and what the expectations are. So that has always been my style, is you know exactly what you're going to get and you know exactly very clearly what my expectations are. And that has to be said every single day and modeled every day.
Thank you. Are there any more comments or questions from the members? Hearing none, the item on the agenda is the approval of the Webster Middle School Improvement Plan. What is the desire of the committee?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Shenarbert.
I would make a motion to approve the Webster Middle School Improvement Plan for 2019, 2020. Right.
Mrs. Naparado stole my copy.
Sorry.
2018.
Oh, it's a 3-year, okay. 2018, 20.
Second?
There is a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Laurie, would you poll the committee, please?
Yes.
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 Yes, again, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the new business. First item under new business is the approval of instructional assistants and ABA's contract 2019 to 2022. Dr. Gogan.
It is upon my recommendation. I would like you to approve the contract. We had a wonderful, lengthy, and meaningful conversations with our paraprofessional negotiation team. I believe the changes are listed for you to see, and it was a very positive experience. And I do recommend, as your superintendent, that you consider approving that contract.
Do we know if the union has ratified? I know there was some timing issues that they mentioned they were going to struggle with prior to this
I
meeting.
think they're having a meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
I think it's tomorrow.
As the representative of the school committee on the negotiating team, let me first thank Dr. Gogan, Mrs. Perangeli, and Mrs. Barris, representing the district. And to reiterate, the IAs and ABAs that were representing their colleagues were wonderful to work with. I think, like a lot of people in education, we sometimes forget how much they do every day for our kids. So I want to publicly thank all of our instructional assistants and ABAs. I also want to publicly thank Mr. Howell, who was the MTA rep that was working with us. As Dr. Gogan said privately many times when we were caucusing, it was an absolute joy to work with him and his team. And there's a lot of work went into cleaning up language that I think was necessary and helpful and beneficial moving forward. So are there any other questions or comments from the members? The only thing I would recommend is if there is a desire to make a motion to approve the proposed contract, that it would be contingent upon ratification from the union itself.
So moved.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Laurie, would you poll the committee, please?
Abstain.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the motion, it does approve. Next item on the agenda under new business is the superintendent evaluation. Again, one of the main roles of school committee is the hiring and oversight of the superintendent. Certainly that is not a responsibility for any one of us as individuals, but collectively as a committee. And the first step in completing the annual evaluation of our superintendent is for the superintendent to present his or her findings based on the goals that were approved last year. So the first step in this year's evaluation is Dr. Gogan discussing and submitting her evidence. Is that the right term in the world of education?
It is.
Her evidence of the goals that were included, will be included in her evaluation this year. Dr. Gogan.
Thank you. I have a small binder for you to flip through as I speak. And in all seriousness, I have many more binders of evidence in my office for any school committee member who chooses to come. I do ask that you take the time to look at this binder. It is very, very, very comprehensive. There's been a tremendous amount of hard work and done in this district this year. I'm going to speak to it a little bit, but I'll pass it to you. Before I speak to it, I want to thank you for the opportunity of serving as a turnaround superintendent for Webster. There is a lot of hard work that's going on in this district, and it's something that really drives me every day. And I could not do my job as effectively without my central office team, who work with me side by side every single day. And as a team, we are a force. And we've accomplished a great deal. So the binder in front of you represents all of the hard work that is going on here. So I'm going to highlight some of it. I won't read everything. And you'll have to kick me if I need to stop. Okay. So my goals, just specifically around instructional leadership, were to, by June 2019, to continue to support and evaluate the district administrative team, and then in turn they would support and evaluate their teachers and staff according to DESE regulations. The evaluations were not something that were done here with consistency. I am very pleased to say that they are now. There's been a big push to support and train our administrators and, in fact, make sure that they're meeting the deadlines for the evaluations for teachers and paraprofessionals. In the binder and under this tab, you will see a very clear organization of how I started the year with an organizational chart, my yearly meeting calendar, agendas and documents from all of my administrative meetings. I will highlight that I did start the year out by inviting the Commissioner, Jeffrey Riley, to visit all 3 schools this year, which was a great way to open the school year. We've had some learning walks that are focused around evaluations. Evaluating staff is one of the most important things that principals have to do. It's not evaluating staff so that we can criticize them. It's evaluating our practice as a group. So I really look at evaluations as a dance, as a way to have a conversation, as a way for teachers to get to know their principal and show off what they're able to do in the classroom. So there's been a lot of work around that. I won't go into the detail, but you will see all the meeting dates for that goal, and there's evidence to support that. My second goal under instructional leadership said I would continue to focus on student learning objectives for all subgroups and ensure our teachers have research-based curriculum resources and professional development support. I have worked diligently with the district administrative team and the instructional leadership team to ensure the ongoing implementation and support of our second year of our reading program, our first year of a new K-12 math programs, the implementation of STEM scopes throughout the district, and the implementation and pilot of an ELA program. All of this ties into a year-long professional development plan, which we're very thoroughly plotted out to align to what we're doing. Our Webster Public Schools instructional strategies really served, and I came in here last year and said the main thing that needs to be looked at is instructional practices. We're a turnaround district, and we have done the action to go with that, and we are continuing to do that action by supporting our staff. Over the last 2 years, you will see there's some pamphlets about the number of resources that have been purchased for our teachers, and it's extraordinary. I meet weekly with my central office staff. We prioritize student achievement and safety. We work with our district principals, and we hope that those messages get into the buildings with the same fidelity as we're talking about in our office. We have developed a cohesive district curriculum renewal plan, which has been approved by the school committee. We have the best professional development that I've seen in years going to support our teachers. We've been very lucky to hire, both Jill Chapdelaine and Janice Daniels. We work collaboratively with Kathy Barris, our student services director, and our business manager to plot and plan. The list goes on and on and on in terms of curriculum supports. One of the things that I will mention this year is that we're really taking a deeper look at our English language learner program. We've brought in Dr. Berta Elenis Rojas again to support our teachers with SEI instruction. And we're always looking to provide our teachers with up-to-date current resources. I had mentioned to you I had gone to the Project Here workshop held at Worcester State. I shared the Project Here with our health teacher at the middle school. These are free programs to help children learn more about health and safety and the dangers of vaping. We have put in place a new district assessment tool, the iReady diagnostic. We have held ILT and DLT meetings with looking at our MCAS data and hoping to have our teachers and take that back to the building to use that to inform their instructional practices. We use data all the time. I have put it in all of our budget presentations so that we're tying what we're doing to our student achievement data, and we're bringing back everything to two things: safety and student achievement. And we're doing a wraparound support as best we can. When teachers ask for things and we know about it, we're really trying to get them the things that they need to meet the diverse needs of our students. Some other things that are outside of the realm of student achievement but affect student achievement are social emotional growth. I've done personally some outreach to the Department of Education and brought a trainer in to train our counselors with using the early warning indicator system. I've connected with the Department of Mental Health and had the adolescent director come in to meet with all of our counselors to open that gateway. We've signed a memorandum of understanding to have U Inc. come into all of our schools, so we have outside therapists to support the additional counselors that we have in our schools. We have also improved our mentor program. We have extended our supports to second-year teachers, and that's been very successful. Thank you, Mrs. Daniels, for taking a lead on that. We have done learning walkthroughs. We have developed a professional development committee to open the two-way conversation with our staff. I have started a superintendent's educators council to hear directly from teachers. The partnerships for the community and other partnerships have just been, when I started to list them, it's amazing when you think about the things that have happened. We have an incredible partnership with MAFRE. We're developing one with Mr. Robert right now. We held a wonderful community safety fair. We've partnered with the district attorney's office on the END grant that helped pay for the lock-in. We've had texting and driving come in. We had MAFRE bring in a crashed car and do an in-control program. The list goes on and on. I'm trying not to lose you. While all of this is going on, we've undergone a district comprehensive review, which is probably a one-sentence thing in there, but it really took a lot of organization from the central office staff all the way into the buildings, into the teachers. What we had to do for the district comprehensive review was gather an enormous amount of data on where we really stand with everything, whether that's leadership, evaluations, SST meetings, scheduling, down to the minute things that we do in a school. There were 22 standards that they're measuring on us. We also this year had a monitoring site visit for Park Avenue. We had a turnaround site visit for Bartlett High School, and we have produced much more comprehensive school improvement plans than you've seen in the past. Under management and operations, I had a goal to produce a fiscally responsible budget in conjunction with the school committee, the business manager, my district administrative team, and the teachers and across the district. There's an enormous amount of evidence for that. Our budget goals are aligned to what we talk about at every single school committee meeting. I have attended public hearing. I presented the public hearing presentation. I've attended town meetings, special town meetings. And another goal was to oversee human resource, facilities, grants management, which I do collaboratively with our business manager and our district leadership team to ensure that we are in compliance. There's a number of, again, the comprehensive district review would fit under here. All of the measurements of leadership and governance, curriculum and instruction, assessment, professional development, student support, and financial asset management all fall into that. There's been a lot of things, and I'm going to stop reading, but I will tell you a little bit about professional culture goal. My goal was to continue to lead through open and honest communication and promote a culture where all voices are heard. I continue to believe that I do that. I develop a culture of respect and accountability by asking people to be part of the solution of the changes that have to occur in Webster. I think that's actually one of my strengths. We've done a lot of things set up a lot of structures for two-way communication to exist. Our admin meetings, our budget process, the Superintendent's Educators Council, the focus has been transparency, to allow people's voices to be heard, to ensure that we're making decisions that are going to benefit the district. A focus on equity, a focus on safety, and finally, under a professional culture, I had a goal to continue to model lifelong learning. I'm pleased to report that I completed my doctorate, and all of the classes that I did take for my doctorate have been used to the fullest potential in this district. Classes such as critical issues in the future of education, creating best practices, seminar on brain research, and it goes on and on and on. In summary, and I'm trying to be fast, but it's been a privilege to be the superintendent here. I would be lying if I told you it wasn't hard work. There is a lot of hard work that has been accomplished in the last 2 years. Again, none of that could happen without the support of the central office team and our teachers and staff and principals across the district. We certainly have areas of improvement. I think we, each year, are able to verbalize what those areas are and take the steps necessary to put action plans in place as we continue to move this district forward. In closing, I am so proud to be here. I am, even though I'm tired. I know that there's a lot of work that has been done, and there's still a lot of work to do. And I'm up for the task, and I hope that my transparency at all of the school committee meetings over the course of the last 2 years has helped you better understand where Webster Public School is and where it's going to be.
Thank you very much. I think Ms. Glennon and Mrs. Daniels identified one of the first questions I had, which was we don't have the second page. I didn't notice it until you were about 3/4 of the way through, and I didn't want to interrupt you.
We'll get it for you.
And also, just so you know, the PDF that was sent to us didn't have it either.
Okay.
So just make sure that we have
Okay.
all the information. Are there any questions or comments from the members regarding the evidence that Mrs. Gogan presented this evening?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So we didn't even make it a quarter way through this book. It's just so impressive. One, the work, but two, that you organize it in this way for people to see, because it's very evident how hard you're working, with your team and with your staff to move us forward. Great. I'm definitely going to look through the whole book, though.
Thank you.
Well, that would lead me into one comment I was going to make, and Dr. Gogan already suggested it, obviously, to all of the members, and I will follow up with Mrs. Blythe directly following this meeting. She unfortunately had a scheduling conflict this evening. Please sit down either alone or in conjunction with Dr. Gogan and go over the evidence or have a discussion with her if you have any questions. I do have one question. So if you were looking back at August or September, whenever we, set your goals and you're thinking of what you and your team want to accomplish, and trust me, I know there's a lot in here that was accomplished, what would one or two of the areas that maybe you personally or as a district didn't get as far as you had hoped now that we're in June looking back?
I actually think we surpassed the goals that we set. And just looking back and putting that binder together with, my team and discussing the year, because we're reflective practitioners, we accomplished a heck of a lot more than we thought we would. You know, I've been doing this for a long time. I know who I am as a leader. I know what my strengths are. We take action. We see the problem, we collect information, and then we have taken a lot of action in the last 2 years to help support teaching and learning. If you're a turnaround district and your scores are low, you need to look at what's happening. And so we've taken a lot of pride in working with our teachers to give them new resources and the supports that they need. If you would have asked me in September if I thought that we were going to do everything we did, I would have said no. When I look back and say, how did we make it through putting together the comprehensive district review information, took months on top of the day-to-day things that happen. And we were talking about this today. I'm having summative meetings with my district administrative team, and part of the conversation is people really don't know what happens in the superintendent's office or what we do. They really don't know how quick-paced it is, and we shift gears constantly. So it's not like we can say, I'm going to work on curriculum for 2 hours without interruption. There's constant interruption. And what I think we do well as a team is support each other with accomplishing tasks. So if something gets put back aside for a little bit, we always remember to pick it back up together and complete it. We're kind of a well-oiled machine, and I'm really proud to be working with the people that I work with.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from the members?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just one, actually, actually the opposite of what Dave asked. What are some things, looking back on the year, that you're particularly proud of that were unplanned accomplishments?
I think the community outreach and being able to partner and build some of those strengths with MAFRE have been really wonderful. The fact that 127 prom dresses came in for kids, and to be able to bring that kind of joy to our students, that was a surprise, not planned. You know, the potential right now of building a feeder college system for kids is extraordinarily, would never have been on my radar screen. And, you know, I'm a visionary leader, and I'll task us as a team to go to the next step. The community safety fair wasn't just my idea, but came from working with Linda Johnson at MAFRE, and everyone's like, what? And we did it. So those type of things.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments from the members? So again, just to remind my colleagues on the committee, all of the evidence that Mrs. Gogan discussed this evening will be shared once again. You also have a copy of the evaluation form that we are using and required to use, as well as the rubric that is published. And again, just a reminder that our evaluation should be based on the evidence that is presented for each standard that is listed in the evaluation. And I do ask that you please complete your individual evaluations by a week from tonight and email them to me. And then what I will do is consolidate them into a summary document, as we have for many years now. And that summary document will be reviewed at our next school committee meeting as part of Dr. Gogan's overall evaluation for this past year. Just a reminder to the members that once the evaluation is approved at that meeting, assuming it is, that the summary evaluation and each individual member's evaluation do become public documents. Any other questions or comments from either the members or Dr. Gogan?
Mr. Chairman, can I
Yes.
make a comment?
Sure.
Absolutely, thank you. I just wanted to take a moment to thank Dr. Gogan for her leadership this past year. we are working hard. We're working long hours and hard hours, but I love my job every day because I believe in the work that we're doing. There isn't a day that I walk into the office and think, ugh, I don't want to be here, or I don't support the work that we're doing. I feel like for the first time in a long time, we are moving in the right direction. We're moving fast. We're getting things done. We're getting things accomplished. And she is the queen of follow-up and accountability, and I love every minute of it. We all need it. That's what keeps us focused. That's what keeps us improving. That's what makes us better at what we do. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank her, and I look forward to the next year coming, and I think we are definitely seeing the right stuff, what we need to do here. So thank you.
Thank you. Hearing no further comments or questions from the members, again, please complete your individual evaluation and email it to me by a week from this evening. And obviously, any questions about the process, please reach out to myself or Dr. Gogan. Next item on the agenda is review transfer signing of bills, payroll, and vouchers. We do have a middle school transfer request. I will entertain a motion to transfer $44,470.51 from the Webster Middle School Student Activity Savings Account to the Middle School Student Activity Checking Account.
So moved.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. And just in case anyone's watching and wondering why this dollar amount is so high, over 42,000 of that has to do with the wonderful trip to DC. So hearing no further discussion, Laurie, would you pull the committee, please?
Yes.
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 Yes. And Laurie, could you just please document in the minutes that I abstained from signing this evening's warrant? Mrs. Perangeli, the warrant that I signed as a warrant designee, does that need to be approved? Okay. Understood. Do you want her to sign as designee, or need 3 signatures? Or do you want her to sign? Next item on the agenda, I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session to conduct strategy and preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, the superintendent, only to reconvene in open session to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, and for those that might be watching, I'm not going to make our wonderful audiovisual folks stay during the executive session, so this will be the end of the video-audio broadcast. Again, we will only be returning to open session to adjourn our meeting. Hearing no further discussion, Laurie, would you poll the committee, please?
Yes.
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 Yes, we will enter into executive session, reconvening to open session to adjourn.